Kristen and I just got back from a conference, and we wanted to do a quick episode to talk about the conference that we went to and about the things that we learned. So let's do it.
Running a home service business is hard. So how is it that some people make it look so easy? Well, we'll tell you. This is the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. It's always good to hear the wins that successful contractors have. But have you ever thought that the best advice would be to hear about the speed bumps they encountered, the mistakes they've made along the way? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want you to be successful and avoid the mistakes others have made. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Now your host, Justin Deese.
I am hanging out today with my amazing wife, Kristen, and we just got back from an awesome event, and we thought it'd be really cool to just go over the event and a couple things we learned and just kind of talk about it. So what event did we just get back from?
We just got back from Service Nation's Eastern Summit event in Charlotte. It was a 3-day in-person training, breakout, speakers, networking, all kinds of cool stuff.
It was a lot of cool stuff. So the event was put on by Service Nation, and if you're not familiar with Service Nation, you can check out their website, servicenation.com. They have a couple of different memberships. They do, it's a best practice group, but it's so much more than that. There's a rebate program, which is honestly, if you use the rebate program correctly, it'll pay for your membership. Hopefully they're okay with me saying that, but it really does. There's amazing training opportunities. There's great networking. There's all these things. Some people know it as service roundtable. So there's a roundtable that's a lower level. But either way, if you don't know what it is or you're not plugged into it, it is absolutely a fantastic organization that Chris and I have been involved with for a number of years with not just our current business, but in businesses that we've had in the past. There's just all kinds of good stuff. And for us, the networking is, the rebates are fantastic. The training is fantastic. We really like the too. And they did this one a little bit different than they've done ones in the past, right? So typically they host the Big Service World every year, which is, I think it's the largest contractor show. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is the largest contractor show of its kind. But then they also do, for members, they do some smaller events, which is pretty neat, because when you go to these large events, they can be a little bit overwhelming. And
it's like a fire hose. Well,
it is like a fire hose, mm-hmm. And then you'll see somebody post something on social media like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you were there. And you didn't even see that person. Mm-hmm. Where these smaller events really give you a little bit more time to hang out and kind of digest a little bit. And part of what Tom and his team have done for this event, and they're doing it. So we just went to the Eastern Summit, and then they're having another one that's the Western Summit in Reno.
In April. 16th to 18th to be exact. But they used to have the Expo, Service World Expo once a year.
Yes.
And then they would do 2 member only live events that were called roundtables, I believe.
Well, I think they varied them: International Roundtable, Barefoot Roundtable.
And so this time, the summits, they kind of changed direction just a smidge, made some updates and revamps. And it's geared towards members, but it's also open to non-members too. So that was kind of cool. But the layout for this show was different than some of the other ones. And everything was more workshop related as opposed to a quick 45-minute breakout. So there was way more opportunity to go much deeper on whatever the topic of the training class was, which was really cool.
Well, and so then you're able to, we both were able to present there, which was cool, but we got to present in a workshop style. And then after it was over, they had more of a gap. Sometimes you got 5-10 minute gaps in between, and you're literally
Right. Barely enough
sprinting
time to go to the
next one.
bathroom to
Yeah.
get to the next one. Yeah.
I need coffee. What? So, but this one, man, there was a lot of good time to just kind of digest the information. And what's amazing is, if somebody were to tell me they were going to do an event like that, my first thought would be, man, you're going to have a hard time keeping,
With
contractors.
breaks like that. Yeah.
Contractors, we're all a little bit, for the most part, ADD. And if you give us a break, we're going to get on the phone, and then next thing you know, we're going to wander down the road. And but that didn't happen, man. It was almost as if it was better attended, each individual breakout session, because there was that time in between to process, or if you need to make a phone call, or whatever. So I thought it was a home run. I know that everybody that I talked to loved the format. I think the same with you.
Same.
Everybody was spoke very highly of it and was very excited. And now I'm very excited for the Reno. But on this one,
So normally what we do when we come back from a show is the following day, we'll kind of download, because we don't go to the same breakouts when we go to shows like this. We don't go to the same breakout. Partially because I don't enjoy going to the stuff he likes and going to, and vice versa. But the other part is there's two of us there, so why would we not divide and conquer on some of that stuff? So when we do shows like that, whether we go together or I go by myself or whatever, I'm an introvert by nature. So by the end of the show, I am wiped out. And I usually say a total of about 4 words on the whole flight home. I'm like,
I can
done.
attest to that. Yeah.
And so, and Justin's usually ready to download like immediately. So I usually have to hold him back a day or so until I can get my energy back to be ready to download. So this is kind of like our download of the show. This is what we would do when we sit down and say, hey, this is what I got out of the show. What did you get out of it? So you guys get the enjoyment of hearing our download live.
And now
recorded.
This is a little bit different now, because obviously we, our home service business, we have sold to a private equity group. I'm still very involved in the business. You're not really involved in the business. So this will be kind of a super high level, because then our business partner, Gist, and I will go down and we'll do the same thing. So there's notes that I took that he and I need to, take back with us to think about implementing in the business. And I don't know, there was a lot of good takeaways. I want to say this too. A lot of times what's tough about conferences like this is you get 8 million ideas, and obviously you can't implement, but a couple. Mm-hmm. And then writing notes is such a hassle, and keeping up with them and keeping them organized. And I will say we're now Remarkable 2 people. And if you don't know what that is, I don't know. Can you tell them what it is?
Remarkable is a digital notepad. It is not a smart device like a tablet, but it is a digital device, and it replaces, well, in Justin's case, it replaced like 75 actual paper notebooks. In my case, I take note every time I talk to a client. I take notes on a piece of paper. I don't like typing when I'm talking to somebody on Zoom or on the phone, because I feel like it is distracting.
It is very
to them
distracting.
and me.
Yes.
And so I like to write it. I like to write notes on paper, old school style. And I got to a point where I was carrying around like 14 folders full of weeks and weeks and months of notes, and it got a little silly. So I discovered the Remarkable.
Yeah, we were in Texas, right? Mm-hmm. Out at Service Nation's new
headquarters,
which is really awesome. And Chris Michelle uses one.
Mm-hmm. And so I was like, ooh, what is that? Yeah. And he showed me, and I was like, that's cool. And then I sat on it for a little while, and I was like, certainly I don't need another device. And then by the time I finally broke down and got one, and I love it. And then Justin was like, maybe that would be helpful for me too. And so he ended up getting one too. But anyway, this is not a Remarkable commercial, but it's really cool.
They are pretty cool. I'll tell you, for me, what's nice is I actually just created a folder, and I put all my notes on one sheet for the whole show. So I would just write a line, and then I would go to the next one.
So what I did is I have my Service Nation folder in my Remarkable, and then I have opened up one notepad, and then each day is a new page on the notepad. So instead of going all the way down, I kind of went down a little bit and then over on my notepad. So It's always interesting.
So for anybody who doesn't have a remarkable, they have no idea what you're talking about, but I do. And I didn't get that fancy. I just went all the way down the section. So, okay. So a little bit about the show, and we said we didn't go to the same thing together, but obviously the keynotes we do. And they had a really awesome keynote. Her name was Anna, and sorry if you can hear the page because I have the actual binder that they gave us here. And her name is Anna Adams, and she talked about AI. And AI is just one of those things right now in our space that I'm guessing less than 10% of contractors are using it.
I would imagine, yes, I would agree with that. And I would imagine a lot of people are resistant to it for a lot of different reasons. She actually addressed some of that during her talk. But I think about AI the same way I think about the switch from 35 millimeter to digital cameras. Like, I was so anti-digital camera when they first came out. I was like, no, I need my pictures in my hand. I want to be able to develop them and flip through them and put them in albums. And who wants to go digital? It's the dumbest thing ever. And
now
here we are. I have a million pictures in digital version and not one film of 35 millimeter anywhere.
Yeah. So overall, it was such a great keynote, and she is going to be keynoting the Reno Summit as well. And so to back up a little bit, one of the cool things that Service Nation did on this one is they're kind of mirroring the two. I mean, they're almost mirrored, same presentation. And what's cool about it is you don't have to feel like you're missing it because, traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast can be a challenge and vice versa. And so we don't want to give away too much of what she talked about, but it was really cool.
It was really cool.
And there was some live demo stuff that she did. And just overall, man, it's AI is so neat. And it was kind of cool to hear her give her because she has been working in this for a very long time.
Before it was cool.
Well, before it was really even open to the public. So there's a lot of there was a lot of things that are in there that I don't know. She's part of the cool kids before anybody even knew there was cool kids.
There's one big takeaway that I got from that one was that we talk about how important it is to have all of your systems documented and how all of your SOPs need to be documented. And the idea, if they're not documented or if they're very haphazardly strewn about, the idea of getting all of that organized can be very overwhelming because how to eat an elephant, right? And so the concept that AI can be used to help with that was pretty cool. Like, obviously AI can't do all of it for you, but sometimes when you're trying to write something, no matter what it is, staring at a blank piece of paper, at least if you have AI to get you started, you don't want everything to be AI because you want it to be you, but to have like a little bit of an outline or a little bit of a start to kind of get you going is pretty valuable.
So I think the challenge that, and I heard a couple of contractors after the session say something like, "Oh, I'm going to have that do my marketing," and she did a very good job of explaining, like, this is a tool in your toolbox. And I know I use AI a lot, and I have over probably the last 6 or 7 months now. And I'll tell you what it does for me is it really forces writing out of me. And what I mean is, it used to be I would sit down and I would just, as I write a story, I would wander.
Really? Weird.
Strange, right? Squirrel. I would wander as I wrote. What I have found is now as I'm writing or whatever task I'm trying to do inside of AI, I always do it as if I'm speaking to a 5-year-old, right? Or maybe 5th grader might be are you smarter than a 5th grader? But I try to go through it and I try to be very clear. And what ends up happening is I end up drawing more information out of me than I even would have done on a normal basis. And then, there's times you get things back or pictures or whatever that are kind of crazy. But for the most part, I think it's such a cool tool. And yes, it can get you started. And as you write and as you're writing things, it can really get to be in a good place where you can, I don't know. I think for me, I'm training it, but it's training me to train it. So
and I think
kinda
it's
cool.
important to work with one long enough that it starts to sound like you. Because
Yeah.
I know I write the way I talk, and I feel like I can tell if something is written and not my voice. And I've had a lot of people say when they read something I wrote, they'd be like, "That sounded just like you," or "I could picture you saying that." And so,
Like, because I did.
yeah. And so I get a little bit leery on the AI side just because I want whatever that comes out from my desk
Right.
or my email or whatever to sound like me. But it does have a huge opportunity to be able to get it started when you just feel like you're at a blank, you know?
Yeah. It's great. There's more to come. Anna even said it in her talk and her presentation. She's like, look, by the time we do this in Reno, there's something that's going to change. And that's true. I mean, that's how fast it's all moving. So, that was a great keynote. And then we kind of got into the breakout sessions, and again, we did a little divide, a little conquer.
So even though there's two of us, obviously we're not able to be all places at all times. So I ended up going to a marketing ROI talk, which was super informative for me because marketing is like German to me. Just like a lot of people are like, "Wait, you do accounting? I have no idea."
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this question because I didn't even think about it until right now. Why did you go to a marketing? You don't even like.
Because the letters ROI were in the title, and ROI means numbers.
I love it. We didn't even talk about that. So.
Yeah, no, I was really curious on calculating. Like, I know how to calculate ROI, but I was really curious on the specific ways that you can track it. And that talk was fascinating in that it really was. It described what a marketing like a marketing position in house needs to be doing way
Yeah.
more than what I ever thought. Like, I'm like, well, we need a full-time person to go to chamber events. That doesn't seem necessary. And it is way more than that is what they should be doing. So that was really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, again, the first day there was great breakout sessions. I mean, I went to one each slot, so there was 3 breakout sessions. I went and checked out Roy Krueger, who was actually a guest on one of the shows before. If you haven't checked that one out, definitely go check it out. I watched one of his, which was Back to Basics, which is such a great topic. And because it is a lot of times as you grow and you scale your business, and sometimes it's easy to forget what got you there, right? There's things that you forget about. And I wrote a note down that I wanted to share, but
You can't find it.
well, I can. I just don't want to. Anyways, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But Roy did a really good job, as he always does anytime he presents. But that was a good one. Again, we don't want to give away all of it, but I will say definitely Reno. I think it's all the same speakers. What you got?
I think it is too. Yeah. That marketing ROI was the only one that I could get to that day because I ended up having to do a little bit of work in the afternoon. But is that the same day that Chris did the disc, or was that the second day?
I think that was day 2.
They start to run together after a little while.
I think it was day 2. I think.
So we both spoke on day 2 at separate times, which that was cool. I always enjoy sharing financial information and the ideas and concepts with people. And even if one person has a little bit of a light bulb that goes off or can walk out of there with a little bit more understanding of the terms and the concepts and the ideas, then it's a win. So just like Roy was sharing some of the business basics in his, mine is it's basics too, but it's accounting stuff, and it's just not something that a lot of people have training on, and it's a big topic.
So here's something that I wrote down on Rory's, and I don't think he'll mind if I share it, because it was just a quick. I don't even know that he meant this to be a thing, but he was talking about back to basics, and he was talking about yard signs and giving the tech like $20 to take a picture and send it in, and then giving the customer like a $20 gift card to go eat or something. Anyways, that was one of the notes I wrote. That was pretty cool. And then I got to go to Strittmatter, Joe Strittmatter's talk, and he actually had Billy Stevens, who is the founder of Sarah, and he owns a company in the DFW area called Billy Go, which is, those two were so good together. It was a great topic. Two really sharp dudes in front of the room, talking about really good concepts, very, high level stuff, but making it not seem quite so high level. It was great. So, I got a lot of good notes. There's probably 3-4 pages, of notes in there. And I don't want to give any of that stuff away, but
you got to come to Reno to hear it. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, basically, unless we can get them on here to tell us about it after Reno. But I will say this: there's a good chance that I will go to that talk again in Reno, because there was so much good stuff that I was taking notes, but then I was like, oh, more good notes. And so anyway, so I will probably end up
going there
and taking all that in again, for sure.
I'm going to go to that one guy who was talking about service managers, team member commitments. I'm going to go to his.
Boom. I would be upset if you did not. So Kristen got to speak on day 2, Tuesday. Mm-hmm. I will say this: numbers can't be an easy topic to talk about, right?
I mean, so the challenge is just like in anything else. If I know it well and I know the vocabulary well, I cannot take for granted that other people who I'm talking to don't, and it doesn't come easy. And I try to bridge the gap between the language of the accountant and the language of the business owner, because there can be some differences, and there's a lot of words and there's a lot of concepts and ideas that accountants and tax CPAs use that aren't in the vocabulary of a regular business owner. And the ideas can be foreign, especially when you start getting into the nitty-gritty theory of accounting. And, it just is, I went to school, I have a degree in it. So I have years of theory plus years of experience to have the opportunity to kind of get it. And a lot of business owners just don't.
Well,
so,
and I think what you do a very, very, very good job of is you keep it like you're not using those big words. You're doing as if you're talking to me, right? So you're dumbing it down so that I understand it. And listen, I can remember a time not that long ago when like you had to make a spreadsheet. Like you were giving me an Excel spreadsheet of kind of my 5 KPI. You're like, here's what you need to look at. Stay out of my lane. Mm-hmm. Here's your thing you need to look at. And that was, and I think for a lot of business owners, we want to know all that, right? Like we want to know terms and things, and now there's even different terms as you've got private equity in the rooms, and you've got large companies. So it's not that we don't want to know it, but I definitely think it's I think you do a fantastic job of making it digestible, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So
well, thank you.
Yeah. So let's see. So that was day 1. Day 2, again, there was great. I mean, every day was great, man. The breaks in between were so fantastic. Not gonna lie, the food was pretty good. There were smoothies. There was an ice cream bar. It was good. It was good stuff.
We went to the NASCAR museum on Tuesday night.
Oh, man. Yeah. I'm not even a NASCAR fan.
I'm not really either, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah, around our house, we call it NAPCAR. Because, man, if NASCAR's on, it's...
If NASCAR or golf is on, it's nap time.
I can't sleep during golf, especially live. That's why live golf or live golf is cool. Because, but anyways, so much cool stuff. The last day was a half day. I think they talked a little bit more about disk. There was a lot of conversations about disk.
Yeah, there was a couple conversations about disk. You can talk for days about disk and using it as a tool and how to read reports and how to interpret reports and whether or not somebody would be a good fit for a position and how to create an ideal disk profile for certain positions. And you can literally formulate a conversation about anything around disk.
Yeah, yes. And I think that, disk is one of those things that companies should really, really look at, not only from the hiring perspective, but obviously what you're hiring for, what position they're in, but really leaning into teaching salespeople so they can identify when they're going into a home, they're not just pouring information over a customer that doesn't want.
So
it doesn't want that kind of information.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that everybody in the company needs to be at least familiar with DISC and what the general profiles are, because it helps with communication in all relationships. It doesn't it's communication across the board. Somewhere along the way years ago, I managed to get on a mailing list. Every now and then I get an email, and it's how DISC profiles do certain things. Like it'll be how DISC profiles do a podcast interview. And then it'll go through each letter of DISC and say, well, the D is going to do this and this and this, and the I is going to do this and this and this. And it's a kind of a cute little way to be more aware how the different styles take in information, how they communicate information, how they want to receive it. And it's been interesting to implement DISC in our own company and our own conversations and relationships too.
Yeah. And last, I don't want to run too long because we can talk about this for many days, but I watched, Tom Peregrino did a thing about contingency planning, and he's always very good about what ifs, as he would say. And there ended up being John and Vicki LaPlante. They were in the room, so they were all kind of facilitating this conversation. And I will tell you, man, you leave a room with that caliber of people, and you leave, and you're like, I got to get my shit together. Like, they talk about such good stuff, and there was such good sharing that happened. And I don't know how many, I mean, it was a pretty packed room, but people were really talking about, things that had happened to them. Like, I told the story about, we were talking about insurance, and, Tom was making a point about, you just fill out insurance and you send it on, and you don't really take the time to read it. And then you learn that there's writers and things. And so I ended up telling the story about when the technician called me that one day, and he's like, the truck is gone from in front of the house. And it turned out that this trailer we had full of very expensive equipment had been stolen from out in front of a customer's house. And because the trailer was attached to an employee's vehicle, not a company vehicle, they didn't cover the content inside of it.
Yeah. And it was filled with Viking kitchen appliances.
Yeah. So the cheap stuff. So what was funny is there was a couple times, and I'm glad John didn't do this when I was talking about it, because I think that ended up being like a $50,000 ordeal. But so there was a couple times when people would say, like, this mistake cost whatever, and I mean, within a millisecond, John LaPlante would go, oh, and that would take you on this thing, you would have to generate.
Yeah, this many days to generate.
Man, I'm so glad you didn't do that for me, because again, that's been a lot of years ago, and now we're insured to the hilt.
Yeah, we're probably overinsured now.
100%, but it also took us getting just slayed on that deal for us to learn it. So I'm
actually glad that you brought up John and Vicki, because John and Vicki are ambassadors for the Joseph Groh Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
Joseph Groh is an organization that helps contractors who have been disabled or diseased, whether or not it has anything to do with it didn't have to happen on the job. But when they have these life-altering changes that happen, the Joseph Groh Foundation comes in and helps them make life a little easier. It might be if, getting a van handicap accessible so that they can get back out into the world, or making a ramp so they can get into their house, or a handicap accessible shower, like just different things that the contractor and their family may not necessarily be able to afford to do on their own. The Joseph Groh Foundation can help supplement that. It's a organization that is near and dear to the hearts of the people at Service Nation.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And so most events, Service Nation related, there is a fundraiser of some sort going on, kind of in the background, super low key, not pushy in any way.
No.
And what did they raise? $30,000 in this 2.5 day? I want to say it was around 30 grand in just this 2.5 day, just from other contractors who recognize the importance of that foundation and are able to help support it. It's pretty cool.
So now we do have to put this challenge out for Reno. They've got to beat that number.
Yeah, Reno's got to beat it.
It's got to beat it.
Yeah.
I think that far exceeded what their expectations were. Mm-hmm. And it's great. I mean, it's the cool thing about the community that we're all a part of. It's the cool thing about being a part of Service Nation is these contractors, the collective group of people, they're amazing, and they're caring, and they're giving, and they're willing to help. And it's so neat. If there's ever a problem that someone has, there is someone in that group that is more than willing to help. Mm-hmm. And I think it's pretty cool. So, so anyways, that's kind of a quick recap of the event. There's so much other stuff that happened that we forgot. Again, great presenters, great event. The layout was fantastic. Charlotte was pretty cool. The Hall of Fame. I mean, dude. If you're
NASCAR,
a NASCAR,
NASCAR,
if you're a NASCAR guy or girl, that was cool. We're not even NASCAR fans, and it was pretty awesome. Like we learned quite a bit. And then they had the things set up with the what was it, with the gas tank and like the pit stop.
The pit stop.
Man, one of those teams got 9 seconds. That was pretty
impressive.
It was pretty impressive because before that it was 12. So everybody was getting pretty fired up. And they had the racing simulators that were in there. All that stuff was pretty awesome. So you're just wanting to tell everybody
that I beat you in racing simulator. Maybe
she did. Although I was number 6 on the fastest lap.
Fastest lap, yeah.
One lap. One lap. Then I ate it in the wall. Got T-boned, flipped 17 times.
No. I managed to stay upright the whole time. I didn't have to restart the whole time.
Did you not?
No.
Oh, man, I did.
I don't even think I hit the brakes. I was freaking pedal to the metal, man.
We first got started, the guy had to open the door, and he's like, sir, you got to push the gas.
Oh, yeah.
I kept hitting the red button.
Yeah, mine wouldn't go into second gear, and I think it was because you weren't cranked yet.
I didn't know mine had anything to do with yours.
Well, I didn't either, but it wouldn't let me go into second gear until you got
just blaming
fired up.
Me for...
No, I won. I can't blame you for anything, so it's fine.
Cool. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Not only Kristen for hanging out with me, but for listeners for checking us out and hanging out. By the way, I want to kind of a thank you to everybody. I got a lot of really good feedback about the podcast at the show, and doing a podcast is kind of weird because it's just me talking into a microphone or me and you talking into a microphone and sometimes interviewing, but you don't get a lot of feedback from other people all that often. Yes, there's the rate. Yes, there's the review thing, but most people don't do that.
You need to add a laugh track to your fancy little board over there.
Do I?
Yeah, and that way somebody can laugh at your dad jokes.
Well, I mean, I laugh internally. Sometimes I laugh out loud at them, so it's fun. I mean, that's why you put me back here in this my little cave, my studio cave. So anyways, I appreciate it. Again, the Eastern Summit was awesome. Can't wait for the Western Summit. If you don't have tickets yet, go to Service Nation's website. I'm sure we'll have something in the show notes that'll say how to get tickets.
How to register, yeah.
Yeah, how to register.
You can register for Reno. You do not have to be a Service Nation member to come, and I do believe that there are tickets still available. So
awesome.
Hope to see you in Reno.
You've been listening to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Information is useless if not applied. So take what you've learned and go and implement it. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Freedom Blueprint for Home Services and hit the website at www.freedomblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.